We are live on a beautiful Wednesday morning in Denver, Colorado. Good afternoon to you folks on the East Coast. We have Uncle B to my left, your right, and Tommy 2.0 is in his house.
I just want to say real quick, good job on getting that day right, Frank. I know you've been having trouble with days lately.
We're on the East Coast, West Coast. At least I didn't go up and down, you know.
Yeah, but like the other day, he's like, I asked my daughter if it was Sunday and it was Wednesday or something like
that. Yeah. Oh, dude, that was a hot mess. I was jacked
up. We're all in that
week.
same boat, though. Knowing what day it is getting difficult right now. But yeah, sorry to interrupt that.
We're in a Groundhog's Day kind of move. You know, was that Bill Murray that was in that Groundhog's Day or whatever? Yeah, it's like every day repeating itself.
Yeah.
You know.
Got some people want to join us in the chat. What's up, everyone?
Got my son, Big Frank, is in the house.
The 6'7" Frank Jr. What's up? The Shamrock Pixie, thank you so much for joining us. If you want to do the rundown, Frank, I just want to make sure I say hi to everybody. If you want, it's your channel. Matt, go for it, man.
Matt, Phoenix Flipper.
Matt already dealing with some of that heat in Arizona. Woo.
We've got the Stash.
The Stash.
The mythical. It's kind of like a unicorn. I don't know if anybody's ever actually seen the Stash, but we've heard it's Bigfoot, you know.
Right.
I don't know that Progressive commercial where she calls him Bigfoot. He's like, my name's Justin. And he looks at his foot. I don't know if you guys seen that commercial yet. But anywho, Nate Dog in his house.
Nate Dizzle, real quick, he will be on the show with us tomorrow, him and Anthony. We'll talk about that later, but yeah.
The beard. LSP. I'm sorry, I don't remember everybody's name. So Jimmy, if you give LSP Landshark Picker some love with you know his name.
I'm bad. I'm worse than you.
In the chat.
Landshark his name's Craig.
Craig, that's right.
Craig.
See, I know Tommy. He's been in this game for a while. Ask Tommy. He knows all the names. He used to do a lot of live with Anthony and Nate, right? I know I've seen you on there a couple times.
Yeah, that actually started out at, I started that show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Then, I didn't know that. I know I saw you on there a lot when I look back at some of the older stuff.
Yeah, I fired that up, and then me and Anthony were running with it, and then Nate came in, and then I got busy and things just came up, and so I just backed out of it.
I was thinking about that the other night. Like when yard sale stuff comes back, like we're gonna have to change the time on Thursday and Fridays for sure, maybe even Wednesdays. So, this is fun right now. I was thinking about that last night. Like there's some things that can make this a little bit difficult during normal times.
And that's the thing. Like the morning show, the e-com and beyond. It's a great time slot through the winter.
Yeah.
Come summertime, it's bad, and like your guys' time slot, it's going to get rough if you're going to want to hit them.
Yeah,
the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, early bird gets the worm that season. You don't want to be sitting in front of the computer. You want to be out hustling. Yep.
Right. And that's where I was at when I backed out of the show. It was just like I had too much going on. Plus, we were doing the printing startup, and it was.
Yeah,
it got a little monotonous. I was just like,
I hear you.
Hey, shout out to Dan the Man, the most underpaid, overworked moderator in YouTube. What's up, my cousin?
Hey, since he's so good at that, what was the name of your Facebook stuff? Let's see if he can find links to it. You had the Prints by TBE, right, Tommy?
Yep. Yeah, there's Prints by TBE on Facebook and eBay.
And okay, so the one is a group and then the one's a store. Okay.
No, they're both business pages, I believe.
Okay.
They should be.
All right, maybe that's why I couldn't find it. So I know Dan will find it. So Prints by TBE, if you could find links to those, Dan, that's a challenge. And don't worry, you won't get paid. And then he's got the Bargain Effect. I know I'm following you on Instagram on that for sure.
Yeah, I actually want to see how fast you can find the Prints by TBE, because that tells me how easy it is for people to find.
I don't know if you guys are noticing. Are you guys having problems seeing the video on your YouTube?
I haven't. I'm not looking at that. So,
because mine's just got the circle of death and the blank screen right now. My son just said there's a lag.
I have it over here. It looks like it's flowing okay.
Yeah, I can see we got Rev Resale in the house. I just call him Rev. I know his name's David, but to me he's Rev. That's a great name. So Rev is in the house.
Rev, if you could pick me up a chicken sandwich while you're at Chick-fil-A, because I saw you dimed yourself out that you're in the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A. So
right,
if you could pick me up something, that would be great.
Right, you can't.
Matt, the Phoenix Flipper. Matt, what is up, my brother? Okay, looks like Frankie said he opened his again and it's not lagging anymore. So
yeah, mine's doing pretty good.
Yeah,
I know I got a lot of. I know Tommy's been in this game. Tommy 2.0 has been in this game for a long time, so I got a lot of questions for him. But if you want to, sure. The first question. I know Frank. Me and him both kind of agreed just a second ago what the first question has to be.
Absolutely. So there has got to be a story. Hopefully, it's a good story. What's with the 2.0?
Where did Tommy 2.0 come from?
Okay, there is a story. Are you guys familiar with who Tommy, Bernard, and Tracy are?
I've seen them in the chat. I've seen them in the chat.
Okay. Well, Tommy, Bernard, and Tracy, they have their show that they do.
Right.
And I frequent in there, and towards the beginning of their show, Tracy was joking around with Tommy Bernard when she said hi to me, and she's like, "Oh, that's Tommy. That's the new improved Tommy." So then I was like, "Well, new improved, new version," and I just became Tommy. I just was Tommy, and then at that point, it became Tommy 2.0.
Stuck. Hey, it's a great name. I mean, everybody knows it. You hear, Tommy 2.0.
It started out as a joke, and it just seemed like it. I was just being a smart aleck one day and joined a chat with it, and it just stuck. It just hit, and there is quite a few Tommies on YouTube, so it just kind of helps define.
Right? Yeah, it's a great name. You know, it's kind of a funny story because it took me a while to put it together. The bargain effect was Tommy 2.0, and I remember one time I asked you. I was like, the bargain effect. I don't remember your name. What was your name? And then you said Tom. Everybody calls me Tommy 2.0. I was like, oh, come on. I mean, I've heard Tommy 2.0. You know, I've been hearing it all along. But now I know. Like now, I'll never forget it. But it's a great name.
So Tommy, I got a cute quick little story. So my niece, she had her daughter. Her daughter's now 10 years old now. But when she was a toddler and she was learning how to talk, she always heard my wife call me babe. So to this day now, 10 years later, my niece, Sophia, still calls me Uncle Babe. She does not know what my real name is. I am Uncle Babe. And so it's kind of funny how something, again, I always use the word organic. Something just takes off on its own. It's not planned. And that's always the best things that ever happen. So I will always be Uncle Babe. And real quick, Kelly, welcome to the show. But look at this. He never lets us down. That's why we pay him.
There it is, y'all. Check out that. I know he's been Uncle Babe and Uncle B. Yeah, right. I know he's been doing some work for, like you said, for Anthony over Pittsburgh. I've been looking at that stuff a little bit. You know, it's definitely going to be in my future to get some stuff made. So I might be hitting him up for sure. So I did printing. I did paper printing a long time ago, and it's a competitive market for sure. That stuff.
It is.
Yeah, you kept putting Lincoln on the $10 bill, and I kept telling you were doing it wrong, Jimmy. Oh, wrong printing. Sorry, my bad. That was a different.
But yeah, check out that Facebook page. Dan it's linked in the chat over there. Dan, the IT man. That just rolls, Dan. Dan, the IT man. Has it in
I also come on the barbecue competition side, Tommy, and one thing, barbecue competition teams always looking for people to do hats, shirts, all that kind of stuff. So I'll make sure to share that with my barbecue community because we're always looking for.
That's a good market right there. They do a lot of custom stuff for the barbecue.
Yeah, Jimmy's come out to quite a few of our contests, and he's seen how elaborate it can be. So yeah, definitely.
It's like Anthony just joined us. Anthony over at Pittsburgh just joined us. What's up, Anthony? Just got done watching your most of your premiere, opening up those cards. Got that Baker Mayfield rookie. Nice job, man.
You know, we're me and my fiance, which by the way is in chat. She's the Shamrock Pixie.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That and we were just looking because I mean barbecue, that's right up my alley. So we were looking at smokers and stuff this morning about an hour before the show. It's like,
you mind me asking what kind you were looking for?
You know, I was just I couldn't tell you what I'm looking for. I don't know what I'm looking for. I just know I want something to, you know, I'm not looking like at this point to do like big whole pigs or anything. I just want to do some like nice pork shoulders, some brisket and stuff like that. So it'd be a smaller backyard style.
Like, Frank uses the barrels and they do great. Yeah, but
you know that's what I told Destiny.
I'll let him take that.
See, I was like, I'm just going to get a 55-gallon drum and cut it in half. You know.
Yeah. So what I can tell you, you could do a couple different options. So yeah, like as Jimmy was saying, I use
real quick though. He was a part-time. You know, he sold this stuff, so he knows a ton about it. Before he went full-time eBay, he was part-time selling that stuff. So I just wanted to make sure, like, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like, this was his
so gratuitous cheap plugs. My friends Tony and Dan and Chris own a all barbecue supply store here in Denver called Proud Souls Barbecue and Provisions. Look them up on Facebook. So yeah, I work with them. So I would say if you want to shorten your learning curve and really kind of do it like a set it and forget it type of cooking, where you're not tending to the smoker, tending to the fire, all that kind of stuff, go with a pellet smoker.
Yeah.
That's the easiest, simplest way to shorten your learning curve, and you'll save the money on burnt briskets and pork butts and all that stuff. Obviously, Traeger is kind of the top of the line, if you will. But there are some other brands out there that are available. And then if you want to go with the drum style, look up Gateway Drum Smokers. Insane Can Posse, ICP. That's what I'm a part of. Check them out as well. Gateway, they're in Missouri, hence the Gateway Arch. That's why it's called Gateway Drum Smokers.
Right.
But yeah, Dan just dropped a link. Dan, appreciate it. But yeah, check. You know, like I said, you have any questions whatsoever on smoking meats, smokers, all that, give me a holler, and I'd be happy to steer you in the right direction.
Well, I'll probably be hitting you up quite a bit then, because like I say, it's something that I've always wanted to dabble in. I love meat. I'm a meat eater, man. I could live on meat alone. And just I've had really good smoked meat, and I want to learn how to do it.
So yeah, I competed at the American Royal, which is the largest barbecue competition in the world, 2 years ago. And I actually finished. A lot of people, it doesn't sound impressive to some people, but in the Invitational, which was 200 grand champion teams competing against each other, I finished 16th in the world in pork. So nice. I've got the pork butt game down pat, and I'm a pretty decent brisket cooker too. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say put your son's comment up there, because that's what you have to be careful of. Next thing you know, you'll be like surrounded by different smokers and all. I mean, Frank's yeah. And then you gotta explain to the wife or the fiance or whatever. Yeah, I'm going to buy no smoker.
hey, Jimmy, I don't know if you remember back when Amanda had her Mustang. All my barbecue stuff was in the garage, all my smokers and all that stuff. Her Mustang was in the driveway, and she was like, "This isn't right," and I'm like, it seems perfectly right to me. It feels right to me. So, but yeah, I've loved cooking, smoking meats. We're probably won about a total of over 100 individual prizes throughout our short career in competing. So,
sweet. I just love the smell of it, man. I just want it going in the backyard so I can just whip it all day long. You know.
And if you want to talk the perfect wood that encompasses all meats, cook with pecan.
Pecan?
because certain meats, oak or hickory or whatever, cherry, they don't complement either pork or beef or chicken. So pecan will cover the whole gamut. So
She's calling you out, man.
Right. Well, what she's talking about, I've been buying printers like crazy since we got into the printing
Yep.
and started seeing what they go for retail. When I catch them pre-owned for a super bargain, I buy them, need it or not. You know, I just picked up a $600 printer the other night for $15. Did we need it?
Printers? What kind of printers are you buying up?
Large format printers.
Large format, okay.
Yeah.
So everything's digital nowadays, right? Like I printed back in the day with fresh ink. Back in the 90s, because I printed for 10 years. But it was all fresh ink on paper. And then so to see some of this digital stuff nowadays is crazy how fast it prints.
Right. And there's so many different inks, you know, because you have your sublimation inks for like your polyester garments or whatever. Then you have your dye inks, your pigment inks, and then your eco-solvent ink, all depending on what you're printing on is going to depend on what type of inks you want to use.
Right.
I mean, this one that I just picked up, yeah, it does your printing, but then it also throws a clear coat over the top of it at the same time.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is great for like bumper stickers, decals, you know, stuff like that, because it's already UV treats it right at the same time.
Wow. Yeah,
You know,
that's crazy technology right there.
Yeah.
Tommy and I can attest to that because I've had. I mean, you look at my closet. I've got countless shirts that I've had various people try to make for me. Where, of course, trying to do it the cheapest way possible, and definitely in the printing world, you get what you pay for. Because I got shirts that, like I said, that not using quality ink, quality, you know, whether it's screen printing machines or whatever, the work, you definitely tell the the quality of the work after about 2 runs through the washing machine, and it's like,
Absolutely. In my opinion, the absolute best you can get as far as a shirt, and people don't want to pay the price because you got to pay for quality, is you go with a polyester or a high polyester blend shirt and go with the sublimation type process, because then it actually becomes part of the fabric. There's no hand feel to it. It's never going to crack. It's not going to wash out. It's not going to fade. But people don't really generally want to pay the price for it. And it's not that the actual ink costs more. It's that the polyester versus a cotton T-shirt. Pricing.
So is that? Do you do any screen printing with the old screen printing stuff back in?
No, I don't. We don't do any screen. What we do is we do sublimation or we do vinyl.
Okay.
You know, we'll do heat transfer vinyl for if people want to go on the more cost efficient side. You still get a decent quality vinyl. We were doing some print and cut where you'd print on a vinyl and put it onto a shirt, but it's got a really heavy hand feel and it does crack, and you know, it doesn't wear for time.
So that's the question. That's the questions I have then, because you know I have I had printing experience. So that's the question I have: is it printing out and then going onto the shirt, or is it printing? You know, if you're doing a shirt or a hat, for example, or is it going directly onto the shirt? Like,
okay, with your HTV or your heat transfer vinyl, what you do is you actually cut it in a vinyl cutter. You cut a design. It's good up to like 3 colors. Any more than that, it gets too complicated, and they're solid colors. There's not like where you're gonna fade. You're not gonna put a mountain scene on it, you know.
Right.
But you can do like up to 3 colors. Like Anthony's shirts are done with vinyl, and then how that is, that's heat pressed with high pressure and heat onto a shirt. It's got an adhesive backing. It does have kind of like a sticker feel, but it's real pliable.
Gotcha.
And then there's the sublamination where you're applying the ink to a transfer sheet. You're also using heat, time, and pressure. But what it does with sublimation is your ink turns into a gas and then embeds into the fabric of the shirt. Nothing actually stays on the shirt as far as the material. It's just a transfer of ink, and that's your best quality for that. You do unlimited colors. You can take a portrait and transfer it. I can show you here, like this mug right here.
Yeah.
We do mugs, and this is a sublimation transfer. There's absolutely no feel, microwave safe. It'll never wash out. That's the picture, which was cartoonized. It didn't, like, that's not the quality, but it's an actual embeds into the pores of the fabric. So like I say, there's zero feel. I wish I would have brought a sample down. You can stretch it. It's not going to crack. It's not going to do anything. But it's a little bit more pricey. But the shirt is going to last as long as the fabric lasts. So, until you wear it so thin that you're seeing through the shirt.
Right. It's not going to crack or,
Here we go. She brought me down. This is one of our sample shirts here. So what you have is,
want to take it off the hanger.
Yeah, let me take it off the hanger. This would be a sublimation print right here. There's no feel. Can't do it. You can stretch it. It's not.
Yeah.
No cracking. Then here, this is.
Yep.
Which one is this?
It's the.
Oh, this is a subli cotton. So you can do a sublimation design and put it on a cotton shirt where sublimation only sticks to a polyester, but there's actually a polyester fabric here, so you can hear it.
Yeah. I know exactly. I kind of get. I know what you're talking about. I know that kind of feeling in the shirt.
This is what Anthony's shirts are made out of here. This is a vinyl. It still has stretch, but not like the other one. You're going to get a good 75 washes out of it before it's going to start degrading. This is the print and cut, which is real similar to the other one. You're actually printing on a vinyl, and you're basically heat transferring a sticker to it.
Gotcha.
It looks good, but there is a feel to it. In the summer, it's hot. That part's probably going to stick to your sweaty body. You know how those shirts are. And it's going to wear. It's probably, I'd say 25, 30 washes. It's going to start cracking. It's going to start fading.
Yeah.
And then one last one is, this is an example. That's our bird, by the way. This is another example of the sublimation, where there's no feel. It's got the stretchability. You can use as many colors as you want, and it'll last. It'll be on this shirt until this shirt can't even withstand to be worn anymore.
Yeah. So we had a guy locally here that tried to make us some shirts, and he did some. And this will touch on. I have a question that I'm gonna put on that Dan is gonna ask you, or is asking you, but he did some Bronco shirts for us. But they were big prints, and he was doing the vinyl transfer, whatever you want to call it. And those shirts were horrible because I felt like I was wearing a piece of cardboard on my chest the whole time. It was because, like I said, it was a big picture, and I'm a big guy, so it was a big print, and it was stiff as all heck, and it just. And then, like I said, after a few washes, they started to crack.
I remember.
So that brings me to Dan's question here.
Oh, the trademark or copyright loss. Yeah. Let me address the first one that you had, or the first thing you were talking about with the big.
Sure.
The print and cut is okay if you're doing a little logo or something, but like you're saying, when it's real big, we sent out a sample shirt to Nate. Every day I'm hustling. And with his logo, because he had multicolors, it was a print and cut. And I know that he was very unhappy with it because it has that thick, heavy feel. I don't like it at all either. And that's why I urge people to go with the sublimation process. But yeah, the big print and cut, it's bad. Unless you're doing like a one time, if you're going to do like a birthday party, a family reunion type thing, you want everybody to have some cheap shirts to wear, something like that. But other than that, if you're going with a business shirt, pay for the quality so it lasts, because you're probably going to wear it. When I go out in public, I wear nothing but either bargain effect apparel or prints by, just because it's free advertisement. It's a walking billboard, you know.
Right.
And
So
then
yeah, that vinyl transfer, like I said, is more of a one-time kind of use kind of thing.
what I classify them as novelty shirts. You know,
Right. Not a daily wear, not something you're gonna wear every day and expect. Yeah, I got you.
no, they're okay if you put them like on hoodies, because the hoodie is thicker. You know, it's a thicker material. But as far as a t-shirt, no. And like I say, in the summertime when it's hot, it's going to be like wearing a plastic sweatsuit. You know?
I know exactly. You get that sweat. You get the sweat. Yep. And it feels real heavy.
Yep.
So that's what I have is those shirts are heavier too. Like that patch has some weight to it. The vinyl ones you're talking about, right?
It's like taking a bumper sticker, you know, and sticking it on a shirt. Imagine what that would be the best way to describe it. Imagine having a big sticker and putting it on a shirt and wearing it. You know, and then as far as what Dan's asking about the trademark or copyright laws, if we're asked to print something, we did shirts for Anthony Pittsburgh's Disney vacation, and when it comes to something like,
I gotta be right back, guys. Sorry, someone's at the door.
Oh, okay. But when we did they were for Disney, and it had some Disney silhouette designs or whatever. We actually just paid for the licensing for it. The license, if somebody wants something, you know, and we just incorporate that into the cost. So for us to be able to use it, we just paid for the commercial licensing, and we don't have nothing to worry about. I don't do any trademarked or copyrighted stuff as far as sending it out the door for sale. Well, if you're printing it for personal use or something like that, or a buddy says, hey man, I want the chicken hawk from Looney Tunes on my shirt. Yeah, okay, here, I'll make one up for you or whatever. But if I'm going to sell it, then we'll pay for the licensing. And in order for us to pay for the licensing, it's obviously got to be worth us paying for the license.
Right. Yeah, and you definitely, like you said, you have no intentions to print up a bunch of Mickey Mouse shirts, throw them on eBay, and sell them as
right. You're just asking for trouble. We try to do a lot of unique designs or free image designs. We stay away from anything that's copyrighted. If somebody requests it, then we'll see if we can get licensing for it, and depending on the licensing cost.
And the good thing is, like, if you're talking about Nate's merchandise or Anthony's merchandise, or even, like I said, my barbecue friends, it's all their own personal business stuff anyway, so there's not a lot of worry about any kind of copyright. There's no worry of copyright or anything like that. Hey, quick shout out. Welcome to the show. We've missed you the last several days. My brother from another mother, Joseph.
My brother from the same mother?
Yeah.
That's my
Jimmy
brother.
Joe have the same mother. Love you, Joe. Thank you for dropping in and hanging out with us this morning. We missed you. See my son's comment, because both my son and myself had those shirts made up with that vinyl printing, and as soon as it allows me to share it on the screen, I'll show you his comment, and it is more so truthful. Basically, he said, those shirts added about 20 degrees to the heat outside, because it was, like you said, it was like wearing a sweatsuit. I mean, it was pretty bad. So, what is going on else in the eBay business world, guys? How's everything going? How are sales?
My sales are actually been picking up over the last 2-3 weeks. I went through a real dry spell there in the beginning. I think everybody got super scared, and I don't sell your essential products. I'm not selling your everyday items. I do the one-offs, And over the last 2-3 weeks, we finally started picking up. I was getting real nervous for a while.
What platforms do you sell on, Tommy? What all platforms do you sell on?
eBay is my primary. That's my go-to. Everything starts on eBay.
You do a lot of local stuff?
I do, not so much in the winter, because I don't like dealing with the locals on lower dollar items.
Right. I got you. I hear you.
They just the people in my town. I'm in central Wisconsin, small town Wisconsin.
Okay.
And the people around here, I've tried doing local, and I've done so much. meetups where they never showed, they don't respond.
I call that flaking out.
Yeah. So I get excited in the summertime because that's when I go with my bigger, high dollar, non-shippable items. I turn and flip a lot of boats in the summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'll
like big boats, fishing boats. Like,
yeah.
Really, that's awesome.
You know, so what I do is I buy them. You know, like right now is prime time for buying because, for one, people are figuring, well, we're quarantined down. We're not going to be out. We're not going to be entertaining on the boat. I could use the money now, so I bring it out of storage. It's not starting because they didn't winterize it right or their carbs are clogged. So I'm going to sell it cheap.
So where'd you get that mechanical background from? Is it just something you grew up in? Were you a mechanic in the past?
Well, I grew up. My dad had a salvage yard, auto salvage yard. Mm-hmm. So that's where, at a very young age, I got buy low, sell high. You know,
right.
I was in high school.
Hard it out.
he was buying cars for $30-$40 at that time. I mean, my high school days are long ago. And you know, he'd buy a car for $25-$30, and you know, he's selling the windshield for $40. He's selling the transmission for $125, and it was like, oh, you know. So I learned the whole buy sell thing very young. Then through high school, my 4 years of high school, I took automotive specialty.
Nice.
So I learned a lot about cars, and then that just carried on. I've been handy. I've worked for landscapers in my teenage years. One of my first jobs was work for a home improvement guy. So with the combination of the automotive, the home improvement, I can pretty much break down a boat and rebuild, whether it needs a floor or transom, whatever, repair the motors. And so I can pick up a boat I've never paid more than $500 for a boat ever.
Is that just like local marketplace stuff, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace? Is that how you find them?
Yeah.
Side of the road.
I'll find them. I'll search within like a 90-mile radius. And you know, we picked up a 21-foot Century. It had a Buick 350 inboard in it. We paid $500 for it. We had to travel about an hour and a half to get it. The upholstery was kind of shot. I reupholstered it myself. I turned around and we sold it for like $1,900 within 2 weeks.
So, you know, as a former mechanic, I just like, one of the questions I have is, how hard is it to get to those inboard motors? Is that a task getting in there and working on those?
No, it's actually easier than working on a car because they have like a doghouse. Once you remove the doghouse, all three sides of the motor is wide open. You don't have no fenders to deal with. You don't have, you know,
air conditioning.
Yeah, you don't have any of that. You don't have radiators or cooling fans in the way.
So it's not a lot of the whole, what you see nowadays, like trying to, you know, fit it in the smallest space possible.
Yeah, they're not shoehorned in there. Yeah, they're not shoehorned in.
No, shoehorned in.
I'd rather work on a boat motor any day versus even the motor that's in my Explorer, you know.
Right. Because I had one other question, then, you know, because you know, you start going with these good topics, and the questions just start. Where do you source most of your eBay inventory? What kind of sourcing do you do for that inventory?
I do what most of us do. I mean, we hit the thrift stores. In fact, after the show today, I was just informed that one of our big resale shops, about 20 minutes away, is open. I'm like, guess what I'm doing today? I planned on going fishing, but I think I'm going.
Put the fishing pole down.
Right. And the thrift stores, the flea markets, I literally have a flea market that I can walk to 5 minutes from my house.
Nice.
And we sold up.
I'd still drive.
We used to have a booth there up until two seasons ago.
Really?
We gave that up because, you know, having a permanent booth at a flea market, it's a lot of work because you figure, like our flea market, it's a 12-hour day, Saturday and Sunday. Well, that's 24 hours. If I spend 24 hours listing on eBay, I'm going to make a lot more than I am at the nickel and dime flea market. You know,
that's a great point. You know,
but it's great.
Plus you're paying to be there, right?
Right. Plus you're paying to be there.
Yep.
And it was just more. I mean, it was great to outlet stuff because I go to auctions. I go to a lot of local auctions, and there's times where I'll buy a whole lot of stuff it comes with like 3, 4, 5 boxes of things because I see 1 or 2 eBay items in it. And I get it so cheap, it's worth it. So it'd be good to liquidate all the stuff that wasn't eBay worthy over there. But then it got to the point to where it was just eating up too much time, and in effects, it was costing me.
Yeah.
I was spending time over there making nickels when I could have spent it here making dimes.
Right. Yeah. Kind of a segue into my brother. My brother had a good question. If you want to answer that one first, if you don't mind, real quick, congratulations on that sale, Matt. Great sale right there. I think that's a good question. And how's that going for you? You just said you just found out a place is open, and for us that me and Frank would both be there right now as well.
Show to be canceled.
But yeah, how's that going? How is that going for you, Tommy?
Well, I am the favorite part of the whole reselling business, I think, with most of us, is the sourcing, is the thrill of the hunt. So I've been fortunate enough to have a huge stockpile. So I haven't been hurting for inventory. And I'm still not hurting for inventory, but hearing that something's open, I'm going to go see what I can stock up on, because eventually I'm going to run out if things don't take a turn. But we do have a storage container full of stuff we can go through and sell. I got a garage full of stuff. I got piles in my basement. So not having the sourcing abilities open right now isn't really affecting me at this time.
Right.
So I have
to feed that addiction side of it, right? Like just get out.
What it's forcing me to do is go through the stuff that I bought that I felt was a great deal at the time, because it was like, ooh, I can buy this for $1 and I can list it for 15 or 20 bucks. Well, as you do this and you get better, buying that for $1 to spend the time cleaning it, photoing it, listing it, making that $15 isn't so exciting anymore as when you first started.
Right.
So that's the stuff that I'm going through now. It's still money.
Yeah, for sure.
It's still profit. But as you do it longer and you get better, you find that you can spend that same dollar. For instance, I bought a stereo. I paid $5 for it, but it's comping out on eBay, sold $4.50.
Right.
What's
up, Sonny? Thanks for joining. Sorry, I saw that. That guy's awesome right there. Sonny's a good guy. Yeah, I agree. Like I used to up until now, I was taking my video games, putting them in a stack and selling all of them in one lot. But with what's going on, I took all my lots down, and I got a stack of PlayStation 2 games right here. I'm gonna be, there are no cases, but someone made me an $18 offer for these games, and I was like, no, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and take these down, and I'll sell them individually. That's the kind of stuff I'm doing right now. Facebook Marketplace has been okay. Found a couple things. I've been looking at some of these online auctions. I haven't bought anything yet. There's a lot of stuff being sold in these auctions that is not stuff that I have enough knowledge about. I see a lot of jewelry, a lot of clothes, stuff like that, and I'm just not big into that stuff. It's hard to find some of the stuff that I'm into, like toys and stuff. So, sourcing hasn't been the greatest for me, but like Tommy said, I still have stuff. I went from listing 10 a day to 5 a day, so that helped me not go through the stuff that I had piled up as fast.
What I want to start getting into, and I have the accounts. I went and created the accounts, been accepted and verified, is I want to get into the liquidation. I want to start buying in bulk, because like I say, the thrill of the hunt is great, but it takes a lot of time if you think about it. If you're running out, going from thrift store to thrift store, and you may find something, you may not, but you spend all day. So you spend all day and you're hopping. My area, if I want to go sourcing, like do an all-day sourcing trip, I got to travel an hour and a half just to get there.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, Denver's pretty hot. That's what makes it a little bit easier for us. Denver, there's a lot of sourcing options.
We have hot spots in Wisconsin. I'm just not located in one of them.
Right. Yeah.
So when we do our sourcing trip, or as we call them, workcations, we'll do a 2 or 3 day trip. We have to travel an hour and a half to Appleton, huge city, unlimited sourcing. We can go there and spend 3 days and not hit every thrift store.
Right.
Plus, they have 2 bins over there. So we'll take like 3 days and go there and just load up. We throw the car top carriers on. We got the SUV. I'll put the hitch rack on, and just load up, and then, I'm good for a month. And I buy, and then I have overflow stuff too, which I'm glad. A lot of people are like, go out there, source, get it home, get it on, get it listed.
Mm-hmm.
That's great when things are normal, but at this point, I'm glad I didn't do that because now I have things to list.
Right. And keeping that
I've always
active is important.
I was gonna say I've always said I've been talking about I've got a death pile, but I'm only listing X amount out of that death pile, so I have a couple weeks worth of listings. And then the biggest thing I've been doing personally, like Jimmy, I'm revisiting all my listings I have. Realizing some things that I probably valued too high, so I'm either low on the prices. I've even actually pulled some of my listings because I'm like, again, back to your point, for a $15 sale, it's not worth my time to now look for a box to package that up. And, it's hard to even get boxes now because everybody's closed to even get boxes. So it's tough to really having to play this game of checks and balances on what's worth having listed right now and what's not. Because, there's times I'm tired of spending 15, 20 minutes looking for a box for a $10 sell, but it's an odd shaped item, so it can't just go in any random box or poly mailer. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I've definitely cleaned up my store a lot with this time that we all have off right now.
Now, in the now times, it's kind of odd because pricing's kind of hard because people, are tightening up on their cash or whatever. But in normal reselling times, how do you guys price your stuff? How do you comp it? Do you just go by eBay solds, or do you have other ways you figure in your comps?
I do eBay solds, but I always look at how many. I also, you can find the true price with the solds, but I also looked at the active for sale stuff too, because, let's say you're listing it and everybody else has it priced way too high, and you can come in just below them. So, but it's mainly eBay solds and then active listing.
Hey, Jimmy, I would say, give the example. I think it would be a perfect example for you where checking the actives is that Ninja Turtle figure you got at that one thrift store that we went to.
Yeah, so what's that? Oh. A NECA. I bought a NECA a rare NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. It's still sealed in the package. And when I looked it up while I was in the thrift store, it had sold for like $180, $190. Paid $20 for it. But when I went to list it, I realized this is literally the only one out there. When I list this on eBay, there's not going to be any. It's going to be the only one. It's the only place you can find this turtle. So I listed it for like $220, and I got full price. So if I would have got the $190 if I would have went by the sold comps. But I was like, hey, take advantage while I can. There's literally none for sale that I can see. I couldn't find it anywhere. I only found like one or two solds on it. So I went high. I shot high, and it worked out great for me. So that's why I always look, especially if I find something that there's none, you can't find it anywhere. Like I'll check at that point. I'll start checking the other, the Mercaris and the others, the other, even Amazon, to see if anybody has it available anywhere. And literally, I just could not find that turtle anywhere else. So I priced it really high, and I got what I was asking.
Do you use Terapeak at all?
Yeah, I do. Terapeak. So I Terapeaked that turtle too. That's how I found some of the sold comps, because it was a very rare toy. Like I could tell, like you just couldn't find it. It was like from 2008, and all of them were wearing a red bandana instead of the different color one that they wore. So it's just a really unusual, rare toy. But yeah, there's been some things where you go look and you can't find any sold comps on it. So so when I can't find a 90-day, then I do the 365-day Terapeak search.
I use Terapeak quite a bit because you can go back a whole year.
Yeah, I like that too.
And when it comes to seasonal items, Terapeak I think is a lot better than your sold. Just looking at your solds on eBay, because if you're comping, so now camping season's coming up, boating season's coming up, and if you comp this stuff on eBay, well, who is buying boating stuff in January and February?
Right.
Right.
But I can look and see what the stuff was selling for last May and June.
Yep, that's a great point. That's, with holiday stuff as well.
Right.
People sell holiday stuff year round, but if you compare Christmas stuff in October to now, that stuff is selling hot.
Yeah, exactly. Say I got a collectible Santa figurine. Chances are I could post it and I could sell it now.
Yeah,
but people aren't necessarily out there looking for it. But if I don't mind sitting on it a little bit, I can look and see, well, what did this sell for from September to December? And I guaranteed you're going to get a lot more money for it than you are right now.
And you have to have this train of thought. If you ask me, like, people are going to their storage or their garage or whatever, or their basement, and they're pulling out their decorations. And one of two things happens all the time. They want to add to their Santa village or their Santa collection, or they open it up and they realize they broke this decoration and they want to replace it. They didn't realize they broke it when they put it away. They pull it out and they broke this Santa Claus or this porcelain figure, and Halloween, whatever decoration. They bring it out and it's broken, but they loved it so much they want to replace it. So those are the time. That's definitely important to do that kind of research. I agree, because those kind of things, it's like spur of the moment. It broke. I want to replace it. And this is the time of year they're in their garage and that stuff. So,
yeah, I wanted to bring up another point for anybody out there. Nate and Anthony and Harlan talked about it this morning on Ecom and Beyond. Shoes right now. If you have shoes and if you got shoes that are over $100, listed at $100 or higher on eBay, and they sell, eBay is not taking fees out for that sell.
Yep.
So work with your pricing a little bit, or if you're negotiating, somebody offers you $95 on a pair of shoes you have listed for $115, and you may have $10 shipping on that, tell them, hey, I'll do $105 and free shipping.
Right.
Because you'll make up that money on the back end with eBay not taking those fees out of those shoes.
Right.
So just a little negotiating tip, like, Matt was right on the cusp with that. So man, he printed money on that sale. He got $105 for the shoes, and he didn't have to lose 12% in eBay fees or whatever the figure is on top of that.
Listings, guys. If you have shoes listed at $99.99, add a penny.
Yeah. Add a penny to that listing, and like I said, it take advantage of those.
Penny and do free shipping. You'll still save money.
Exactly. I mean, honestly, and it wasn't until I heard them talk about that this morning that I kind of forgot about the $100 shoe deal that they were having right now. So take advantage of that. That's a good way to add a little bit of margin, put a little bit more meat on that.
In general, guys, think about it. A lot of those kind of stores are closed. You can't go to the mall and buy Nikes right now. You can't go to the Nike outlet. You can't, so shoes are doing, I know Matt knows the shoes are doing really good right now. Everyone, if you can get your hands on shoes, or if you have shoes for sale, they're moving pretty fast right now, especially, the country is still promoting exercise and get out there and run and walk. I know I'm not doing it, but they're promoting the country is promoting that, and the people are going out and they're still buying shoes because, they still go running. And I'm telling you guys, if you guys haven't sold running shoes do good, especially right now in the spring. People are getting ready to start running more. They're going to their closet and they have that one pair of Asics that they love, but it's just worn too much. But they want that same pair, and you can't buy it new, and they will go buy them from you on eBay. So shoes in general right now, guys.
Yeah, and Sonny, I agree with you. There are sometimes you got to get that sell no matter what. They're not going to budge, but if you can get them to budge, make them budge. So yeah, you still got a nice $90 sell. So
Midwest Bargains joining us. Midwest Bargains. What? Okay, I'm bad at geography. What state is that? Was that Wisconsin?
That is Texas.
It's not Texas.
That is Illinois.
That is
Illinois. There you go,
Jimmy. That is West Coast. That's clearly Florida.
Sorry, every once in a while we get sidetracked with some bad jokes.
What do you mean? I just helped Sophia with her geography this morning.
She got a big old fat F.
I was telling her that state that's shaped like a boot.
That
state. It's right next to across the pond.
That's across the pond. Oh, you're crazy. Oh man.
Are you guys familiar with the Completely app for comping?
Completely?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys have iPhones or if you're Android based, but iPhone has an app. It's called Completely, and that actually it's very good when you're out on the road or whatever for comping because it does all your mathematics for you. You can search by barcode or by title. The app's a one-time fee, and it does everything for you. It does your math. It'll tell you the sell-through rate, so you don't have to sit there and look at okay, how many are available, how many are sold, and then do your calculations. What's the sell? It does all that for you, and you can break it down by use. Whether it's a used item, new item. It kind of works like Terapeak, but it adds that sell-through rate in there, which I think is awesome. And it's cheap. It's like a one-time $5 fee or something.
Completely is what you said?
Completely?
Okay, I'll check that out.
And I'll show you what the icon looks like. So it's just a little yellow. It's up there in the top corner. See if I can get it to focus here. Little yellow. It looks like an auction hammer.
Yeah, I see it. Looks like I got some stuff that shipped.
Completely.
Mm-hmm. And then I've been doing really well on Macari lately too. I'd say Macari is probably selling close to the same amount as eBay.
Yeah, it's only $3.99 on Apple for that app, the Completely app. So
yeah, I knew it was cheap. It's definitely worth it. Like I say, because it's one scan. If you're looking something up, it's one look up and everything's there on that page. You don't have to look at how many sellers there are, how many have sold, and that also goes back a year as well, instead of just the 60 or 90 days that eBay does.
So Midwest Bargains, I was glad you brought this up because I am not familiar with it. Jamie, I don't know if you are or not, or Tommy, what is Grailed? I've heard that name pop up several times within the last week or two. I haven't looked into it myself.
It's just another selling platform. It's definitely more for streetwear and hip hop type gear and stuff like that, but or vintage clothing finds. And I heard hats do really good on there. I haven't tried it, but I thought about it because I have a lot of hats.
Yeah,
Grail, if I'm not mistaken, that's basically just gentlemen's clothing, right?
Right. Yep. It's a lot of a lot of the stuff that you find, Frank, like vintage T-shirts, vintage hats, street gear type stuff as well. Like you would do good on like Champion basketball jerseys. Do really good on there, stuff like that. I don't know if you've ever. One of my favorite YouTubers, just to watch for fun is Paul Cantu, and the kind of stuff that he finds at thrift stores, you would find. He calls them grails. That's the kind of stuff you would find on Grailed. A lot of stuff like that.
And Midwest Bargain said, yeah, exactly. She sold hats, and then Kelly just mentioned that she sold a vintage Harley shirt that went to Switzerland. So,
yeah,
nice.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet though.
So there's Railed, Dan, and then there's the parent company Grailed.
Railed. We don't want to know what kind of apps you're downloading, Dan, and what you do in your personal app. Keep that railed. App.
So just so everybody's clear, it's Grailed, not Railed. This is the geek in me pointing that out.
That's funny. Yeah, I haven't tried it. I've been told I should put my hat on there. Don't click on Railed.
Do not click on Railed. For gentlemen, you might not like what you see.
Yeah, let's
keep it PG.
Change the record on that. Yeah, I'm gonna try I thought about trying. I got a bunch of hats that aren't selling on eBay, so I've been told I should put them on Grailed. I'll see what it takes. I'll find out. I'll try to create an account, see what it all takes. Hey, what's up, Brandon? Thanks for joining us, Brandon at Flip It and List It. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, man. Yeah, it's not rated E for everyone. So you said, so March was, so I had a slow March too, Tommy. You said March was a little bit slow for you when this all started. I'm like in the same boat, slow, starting to pick up now.
I mean, I was lucky if I had 2-3 things going out, you know, it was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I was stressing. I was talking, I don't know what I'm going to do. You know, nothing's moving. I got all these fees coming in and store subscriptions, and I was like, what's going to happen? And then all of a sudden, boom, it just turned on. I was like,
yeah, I like had the exact mirror of that. Like March was a terrible, terrible month for me in sales. It was my worst month basically in over a year. But then this month is already shot out of a cannon, been really good. So,
yeah, my first week in my March was actually good. You know, Jimmy and I, you know, we talked a lot about it. And then the first week in April, man, it dipped. But then it's since last Friday, I mean, it's that roller coaster, right? I'm going back up that hill again, and it's been really good.
I mean, if you know, crunching numbers, my sales were down about in March. Were down about 30%, which.
see, I was way down in March. I was more like in the 50-60%.
Wow, yeah, that's tough right there.
Yeah, I was.
You can afford a 50% pay cut. Not this guy.
Like I say, I was getting nervous, man. I was like, well, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna? And we just started going through. We just started touching every listing, became more active in the listing, and it bounced back pretty good.
Dapper Tigers joined us, flipping goodies. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. I got dealing with a fun one just now.
Is that a Facebook Market or is that an eBay?
Yeah, I got to deal with this one. Hold on. I got to. Give me 2 minutes, guys. Sorry.
Gotta love them.
Oh yeah, like we all have them, right? It's like sometimes do you or anybody in the chat have that inventory item that for some reason you get this item sold, but then the customer never pays for it, and that inventory item just keeps coming back. I have this Amazon Echo shell that goes over your Alexa or whatever.
Okay.
I literally sold that thing 3 times where the customer hasn't paid, so I had to file a case and all that stuff. And then I just sold it. The customer paid for it, boxed it up, had it ready to be picked up. They send me a message in the middle of the night. Oh, I just realized this isn't an Alexa. This is just a shell for it. I don't want it, blah, blah, blah. It's like, man, this thing is like my bad penny. It keeps coming back to me.
Yeah, I got to say, I've been fortunate. I haven't really had any items that made. I've had items that sold and returned, and then I resold, but nothing that just kept coming back.
Like I've literally sold this thing 4 times and it has never left my eBay room. It's just like, come on, people.
I do hate the people that throw you an offer, right? And it'll be well below what you're asking for it. And there's times where I accept it because it's just old. I want to move it, get it out of my way. I don't care even if I'm at a break even. So I can recoup that money and reinvest it smarter. And they'll make the offer, and I'll immediately accept it. It's not like I made them wait 2-3 hours and they stepped away from their machine. I'll immediately accept it, and then they don't pay. You got to open up a case.
Yeah.
You know?
See, I've always felt, in my opinion, we actually talked about it last night on another show. I was watching a live chat last night. You know, I know we kind of do in a way have a buy it or a payment, instant payment option, but I personally think if I have a listing and it's listed and I have a best offer available and a person sends me a best offer and I accept it, they should have to pay for that item immediately. Because they're the ones that are throwing the offer to me to accept a lower price, but I have to be stuck and wait 2 days before I can even open a case.
Well,
and then another 4 days.
I'll tell you, do you have immediate payment on your listings?
I don't. Like I said, so we kind of have a way to make that possible, but I don't do that myself. But I think it should be no questions asked. If they're offering me to take a lesser price than what I'm asking for something, they should be required to pay instantly for that item.
Yeah, I agree. Like how Macari does it. If I send you an offer on Macari and you accept it, I mean, I'm charged immediately for it.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's like, I can't tell you how many times that I've gotten the email after somebody's agreed to, they've sent me an offer and I accept it. Then they turn around and they give me well, does this item have blah, blah, blah? They start asking me the questions after I've accepted their offer.
Yeah,
or then I get the other ever popular, it's a Monday morning, I accept an offer, and then I get an email 5 minutes later. Well, I don't get paid until next Tuesday, the 1st, so can you hold this item till then? I'm like, dude, this isn't layaway, brother.
Right.
It just those are the pain points for me when it comes to as a reseller on eBay. Like, so I sell on Mercari as well. I like having that instant payment on Mercari. Dan just sold a homing pigeon on eBay for the 22nd time. That's what this Amazon Alexa is. This thing is my homing pigeon. I cannot get it to leave my room.
Flipping Goodies question. I was going to address Flipping Goodies question. Would you go to a possible warehouse buyout from a former eBay seller? I will do anything that I think there's potential money to be made in. I mean, I'd at least check it out and see what they have.
I went along with Jimmy on to go see a former reseller's inventory that he was going to sell, and man, that was a tough one, right, Jimmy? That one that we were upstairs at his house and trying to figure out if it was worth what he was originally wanting compared to what he valued his inventory at compared to what Jimmy was negotiating with him on, and it was like.
I think me and Frank both agreed that we've gotten pretty good at sourcing. I know, a lot of us were really good at finding stuff and passing on the stuff that you shouldn't buy. And this guy was maybe 50-50 on his he wanted to buy everything. I'm like, well, I don't want the junk that you shouldn't have bought. I just want the good. And so, he kept lowering his price, but it still was like, you know what? And that's what I just kept talking. Like, I wouldn't buy half this stuff. I wouldn't buy. Like, it's not stuff I would have bought, and you made mistakes. Like, how do you say that nicely? But Frank was there. He saw the inventory. Like if we could have cherry picked it, and maybe came up with an offer for the stuff that we wanted, but he was trying to throw in these toys that like Funkos are good, but the bad ones are really, really bad. They won't sell, and they're just going to sit there and you'll be lucky to get $3 for them. And he had a ton of those. So, yeah, and that's one of the hardest things is finding someone that, and that was the hardest thing about that deal was trying to, get him to stop trying to give me his junk. I just, the bad stuff, like I don't want it. Like I don't want this stuff that
Yeah, because there was some stuff that I could have, the overall price. Jimmy and I were kind of thinking. I was like, okay, Jimmy, I can take the clothes portion of it. What do we value the clothing side of it? And it would just, but he was still a little too,
yeah, he's still too high. It was too high.
Same with that other guy, Jimmy. I don't know if you remember, we were looking at the guy that had the trailer full of the video game stuff. You talk about someone that, remember that one? There was a bunch of.
Yeah, I didn't actually go look at that. It was just pictures.
Yeah,
right?
I'm saying. We saw it on Facebook Market, but just even looking at the pictures, it was like, yeah, he way overvalued his inventory.
And that's part of the problem when people overvaluing, they know what, that's when you're dealing with a reseller, they know what the retail value of it is. And, unless they're absolutely just like moving that day and just getting out, they're not going to give you that good of a deal. I don't feel like.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like dealing with resellers that much for that purpose, I mean, I'd rather deal with the people that just want to get rid of their stuff, and they'd be happier to take a few dollars for something so they don't have to figure out a way, go spend a day having a rummage sale or haul it to a thrift store themselves. And I'll take the good and bad, because if you can get it for the right price, you pick what you want and you drop the rest off at a thrift store. Or like our kids now, their son is 14, daughter's 12. They're like at the age now where we gave up our flea market booth because it wasn't worth our time, but it's worth setting my kids there up at a table now and just get what you can get for it,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like when it comes to estate sales, I have like that kind of like, I guess, I get it. I understand they have a business to run, but like I like estate sales when the attitude is like, we know what the house is worth. We want to sell this house, so let's get everything out of the house. I don't care what you get for this stuff, because I want to sell the dang house. Those are the estate sales I like. But when you go to that estate sale and like, oh, you can tell they were up all night looking up prices on eBay, and they didn't, like Frank would say, they didn't look up sold, and you're just walking through that estate sale just shaking your head like, well, we'll be back on the 50% off day, and you'd still be lucky to get that for this stuff,
Right. Yeah, because we actually, Jimmy and I, when we go out to estate sales, we actually kind of track the companies that we're like, okay, remember not to go to any that are from XYZ company because they're grossly overpriced. Because even on, like Jimmy said, even on the 50% off day, they're still almost at normal selling price. And it's like, come on, people. Yep. To me, they're almost doing the family a disservice because they're, right. Stuff that the family doesn't care whether they, get, eBay pricing for it. They just want to get some money off of, mom or dad or grandma or grandpa's old stuff. But yet these estate companies are trying to get crazy money for stuff. I mean,
and I get it. I get it, but I don't. But it's frustrating. Some companies, they have a reputation of they have a reputation of getting as much as they can for the family and this and that. And I get it, but the best companies kind of meet in that middle ground. They're not giving stuff away, but they're also not. They know resellers are their biggest customers. An estate sale company that realizes that resellers are their biggest customers and buy most of their stuff are the ones that are the most successful, if you ask me, and have the best business model. You can sell stuff to the general public, but you're not going to sell it all. You're not going to,
Right.
There's only so many collectors in the metro area that are actually going out to estate sales for themselves. For the most part, it's resellers. You guys have been to estate sales, it's all resellers, and the ones that are priced fair, 50% less of the, 60 to 50% of retail to start is what I like to see. And there's companies that do it. They're doing. And there's the ones that have the line down the street when waiting in line to get into that sale.
I say I agree with Dan where he says as a buyer you don't have to be overly nice to a seller. Just tell them what you want. No need to sugarcoat it. You'll never see them again.
Yeah,
that's my theory. For one, there's plenty opportunities to buy. So I think there's a point where I agree. You just tell them what you're willing to pay and be willing to walk away from any sale.
Right.
And chances are they need to sell that item more than you need to buy it.
Yeah. Yep.
So there's times where, you know, I get people down, like I say, for boats. I never paid more than $500 for a boat. But there's been people that I bought boats for 200 that these were asking 7 for.
Yeah, you know, Tom, ask my wife. Even before I got into reselling full time, when I would buy and sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace, I'll be the first to tell you if somebody I still do it to this day. Somebody has something they want $100 for it, I'll literally offer them $30 or $40 for it.
Mm-hmm.
They say no, okay, move on, because that's what I'm willing to pay for. Now I may have a little bit of a wiggle room in there, but again, my attitude is if they say yes and they agree to us. I mean, there's times I've told my wife, I'm like, hey, you want to go with me? I got to go pick up something off of Facebook. She's like, what'd you buy? I go, well, they had XYZ. They wanted $100 for it. She goes, well, what are you paying for it? I'm like, $30. She's like, you're such a cheapskate, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, my attitude is they could have told me no. Right. And I would have moved on. I don't have to have dinner with them tonight. I'm not eating lunch with them tomorrow. So I could care less if I hurt their feelings or not. It's nothing personal. It's all business.
I had a local guy here that told me, oh, you rip people off. You won't give them nothing for their stuff. And then you turn around and you sell it for a lot more money. And it's like, I'm not ripping them off if they're accepting. We agreed on a dollar amount and they know I'm a reseller. Now, once I take possession of that item, it's mine to do what I want. They could have turned around and sold it the same way I did. They chose not to. They wanted the quick buck. So how am I ripping anybody off? I advertise when I go to rummage sales, when I go to flea markets. Like I say, I wear all my gear. I got my bargain effect stuff. My truck's plastered. When I pull up to a rummage sale, the bargain effect, buy, sell, trade, product relocation specialist. And so they know what I do. And I will be the guy that if they have something for $1 on their table and I know I can get $30 for it, I'm the guy that's going to offer them 50 cents. You
can't see Tom. Yeah, I agree. I had a little spat with a guy on Facebook Marketplace yesterday over, I started off is this price negotiable? He said yes. He had it at 100. I offered 75. I don't feel like I lowballed him that bad. He got all pissy with me, and he was like, because there was a stack of Nintendo DS games. And I was like, he came back, well, no, I need 90. And I was like, I'll do 80. And then he's like, that's $6 a game. I might as well just throw them in the trash. And I was like, well, that was a little bit. I told him, like, are you going for like some kind of drastic negotiating technique? Like, what are you doing? You're like being a little dramatic there. And he got all mad at me. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm fine. I don't need them that bad. Good luck selling them. Right. He got all mad. I said, you should have just said that it wasn't negotiable. You have a $10 wiggle room. Like,
yeah, I think, I feel 25% is a fair, more than a fair negotiation because I would have offered them 50. So,
right. Yeah. So, I mean, but like that's to that point though. Like I wasn't mean. But I was like, hey, like that's a very, I said something like that's a, drama queen, like a drama queen negotiating move there, bud. Like it really throw him in the trash at, anyways. And I just kind of let, and then he had to try to let me have it. And I was like, whatever.
Again, kind of the jerk in me and my wife can attest to it. She just put in the comment here, what I say. But even before we were full-time resellers, we would go to a garage sale and I would look at something. I'd ask them, hey, what are you asking for this? And they'd be like, well, I bought this at blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't care what you bought it for. I want to know what you want for it. Yeah. And then we'll negotiate from there. And like Joseph says, Jimmy, the guy says, I'll go throw it in the trash. Well, let me know when you're going to throw it in the trash. I'll go dump in your trash can and get them after you,
Right.
Dan, yeah, you should see me. I'm like, I'm not paying $3.29 for this gallon of milk. $3.28 maybe, but oh yes, Amanda puts out a great point. So used to be a big video game junkie. So a guy had a Sega Genesis with the Sega CD and all the 32X and all the other stuff that came on the add-ons for a Sega Genesis, and the guy wanted $400 for it. And he had a bunch of games for it and everything. So I messaged him. I said, I'll give you $200. I have cash in my hand and I will pick it up right now. This was in January of last year. May of last year, he had it still listed on Facebook Marketplace and he had it for $200. And I'm like, there is unfortunately the madness of some people. He could have had $200 in his hand back in January. Instead, he sat on the system for almost 5 months. And then he finally got what I offered him at the very beginning. It's just like, it's crazy to me that people will, the other the pricing tactic I love when you say on Craigslist or Facebook Market is they'll have something, say like a Nintendo Wii, and they want $50 for it. And in their ad, it'll say, asking 50, willing to take 30, but would like 50 for it.
Yeah.
You literally just, you just show your cards.
Now you just opened yourself up to a $25 offer.
Yeah. So yeah, dude, we're cut from the same cloth because my answer to that is always, well, now I'm out. Now I'm offering you 20 for it because I know.
Sorry, guys. I'm trying to. I have a package that was already dropped off at the post office, and they want to cancel. And it's a global shipping, so I'm like, between me and my wife, we're trying to get that stopped. They haven't scanned it yet, though, so my wife works right by there, so she's gonna try to run over there and get that package because, he's like, well, when I get it, I'm just gonna return it, and I'm like, well, I don't want it to go all global shipping and then have to have a return global shipping. Oh my gosh.
Well, who pays for the return?
Me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I just don't want to deal with it. And he's even admitted that he made a mistake on his end and he didn't do all his homework. But I just want to get it stopped and stop it from shipping, man.
Matt, yeah, I haven't personally had somebody do that to me, but that's the kind of stuff that annoys me right there. Guy says, he wants 35 or best offer. He offers him 30, says no.
Why though?
Because I want to lure people in. Come on, dude. Yeah, I've been known to get my Mac on with the blue hairs at the Arc every once in a while to try to get a discount, but hey,
the blue hairs. You're gonna get in the.
And that was an epic week at your house back in the day. I spent a week with Danny. We literally ran the gamut figuring out what pizza place we were ordering pizza from every day of the week. So a lot of NBA or USA basketball on the Sega. Flipping good. He's the Atari 800. Had an Atari 2600.
Yep, I had the 2600. I had the 5200.
I never had an Atari. Right, Joseph? We never had an Atari. We had a Texas Instrument home computer that could play Atari games, but we never had an Atari.
So I'm gonna age myself a little bit. Back in 1982, my mom and dad were giving us our Christmas gift for the family was an Atari, and they had hid it at my aunt's house that lived about 3 blocks from our house. Well, on Christmas Eve, 1982, the epic blizzard of 82 snowstorm hit Denver and dropped 26 inches of snow overnight. So my dad had to walk in 2 feet of snow to my aunt's house to get our Atari so we could have a Christmas morning to play Christmas afternoon or whatever. So yeah, if you ever ask my dad or my brother about that story with my dad having to walk to go get our Atari.
Dan has a good question about, because I was talking about that return.
Yep, go ahead and address that.
So I choose to, it's kind of how you build your business model. There is an option for that. I do free returns and all that stuff just because I'm a top-rated seller and I want to keep that top-rated discount, all that stuff going. So I choose to do free returns. The thing that sucks is I also do global shipping program, which means I send it to eBay and then eBay sends it to the other country. And there's not a lot of support on returns from the global shipping program. I've been on the phone with them multiple times. Sometimes it comes down to literally you just talking with the customer and figuring out how to ship it back. eBay handled all the custom stuff on the front end, getting it to the customer, but coming back, they're like, can you guys figure that out on your own? So that's the main reason I want to stop it, is because of that. But it really all depends how you decide to build your business model, if you will. If you want to have free returns or customer pays returns. So I will say this, a problem, and I know you guys probably know about this, a problem with making the customer pay for returns is the dishonest customers out there that will say, and not only will they lie and say there was something wrong with it, they will purposely make something wrong with it, then do an item not as described case against you, and it's kind of a ding against you. And guess what? You're doing a free return anyway. So if you ask me the number one reason why I do free returns, because that most customers are going to say, well, it wasn't the shade of color that I liked, or it didn't, this was wrong with it, or they'll break it on their own so they can say it was not as described. And guess what? eBay is going to make you do a free return at that point anyways. So
yeah, the savvy buyers out there know how to get a free return if they want it, regardless. I jump back and forth with free returns and paid returns. I'll start a lot of my stuff out where buyer pays return. If it gets to where it seems like it's not moving, it's not getting a lot of views, then I'll jump it over to free returns. I also do the same thing with charging for shipping. I'll charge for shipping. If it gets stale, then I'll switch it over to free shipping, incorporate the shipping price in there. But I don't have like a steady thing that I follow, whether free returns or not free returns. I used to do a lot of clothing, and I'd get a ton of returns when I had free returns.
Yep.
Because if it just didn't fit right or whatever, then they would send it back. Since I switched my clothing out to paid returns, I have nowhere near the amount of returns. And I was doing it for the same reason you said you were a top-rated seller, get that extra discount. But what I found was I was paying a lot more in return shipping than I was getting in that discount.
Right. Yeah, with clothes, I don't do a lot of clothes, but I get it. But even with clothes, I dealt with not as described, and it's just a pain in the butt.
I mean, my return rate is really low. I think now I'm at like 0.9% or something.
Mine was really low too. It's just,
I was up to like 3% at one point when I was doing the free returns.
Right.
Yeah, the frustrating side is, like, for me, I have Jimmy's seen the makeup that I have, where I sold one to a lady and she did a return on it because she's returning it back to me, and obviously eBay immediately approves the return, and the return is because the shade doesn't look good on her face when she put it on. So now I had a sold, sealed
brand
makeup that is now, once I get it back, I'm throwing it in the trash because I can't.
You can do a partial refund, and eBay will take care of the other half, just on something like that they open.
But that is so frustrating. Why is that my fault that you don't know what a makeup's going to look like on your face? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's just, unfortunately, it's part of doing business. Like we talked about earlier, in Jimmy, set some money aside to anticipate those refunds or returns because they're going to happen. It's any business model, don't care what business you're in.
Yeah, you're going to have returns no matter what,
right.
And you're going to have free returns no matter what. That was my point on that. Like, whether you like it or not, eventually you're going to have a free return. All someone has to do is do an item not as described case, and they win most of those. Most buyers win those. Yeah, Joseph, I mean, that's part of it. But the main reason I do free returns is because I want to, I feel my model now is sell so much that returns don't hurt. Like, they don't hurt me that bad. I don't get enough of them. Like Tommy said, my percentage is so low, and I make enough every month now to where if I have, if I keep going on the same percentage I'm on, they don't bother. I literally, returns used to hit me, I would worry about, oh my gosh, I can't afford this. Now it's like, okay, whatever, send it back. Let's do this.
And if you go through your listings, what I did is go through your listings and bump every listing up a quarter.
Yeah.
All them quarters are going to pay for the few returns you get.
Yeah. So me getting rid of, because I used to do free shipping, those things all just added up too much. So I got rid of free shipping. That was part of, and I account for like my boxes now in the shipping price. I don't just do exactly what it costs. If it costs, I do a flat rate. So if I know that it's going to cost around $4, well, guess what? It's $4.50 shipping. Then I'm accounting for my box and stuff like that. So that's really helped me a lot too.
And what you got to think too. It's hard to say whether to advise somebody or say, yeah, you should do free returns or you should do buy or pay return, because a lot of it depends on product too. There's a lot of items that are higher risk of returns. Clothing is one of them. Maybe makeup is one of them, because the shade it looks on the screen might be different than the shade it looks in person.
Yep.
So people ask me all the time, what's your opinion on free returns? And that's why my store is a mix of it, because I think a lot of it depends on the item itself.
Right. And then the size and the ship, if you're selling a bunch of big stuff, you can't be doing free returns. It'll take if you're, so when I started doing this, I worked for a company where we sold lawn equipment, big lawn equipment, log splitters and stuff like that. There was no way we could offer free returns. Like, shipping was $200-$300. Like,
right.
Nope. And I worked in the customer service department of that company, and we would literally, eBay was on the phone all the time. Like, look, we do not offer free returns. The customer will have to pay for this if they want to return it.
So, hey, Joseph, one of the things that some customers will do is, like, if they can buy a shirt at a really low price, they'll get it, then they'll do the return, hoping, because you're going to have to pay the shipping to send it back to you, that you'll tell them, I'll just refund you and keep the shirt. And then they turn around and they'll sell it themselves because now they got a free shirt. I mean,
right. I want to do a little disclaimer right here. The little disclaimer real quick, though. Like, it's a very, 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 very small percentage of these kind of buyers. Most buyers are amazing. You don't even hear from them again. You get the positive feedback. Everything's great. Deals done. So it's a very, very, very small percentage of this kind of stuff that happens. Don't get us wrong. It's not like it's some kind of crazy thing we deal with all the time. It's very, very rare.
All three of us have said, our return rate is less than 1%.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's not, but there are those. But it's in any facet of business, whether it's the person that goes and buys a TV at Walmart, takes it home, takes the TV out, and throws a bunch of bricks in the box, and they're hoping that the person at Walmart doesn't open the box to make sure the TV's still in the box. That stuff happens. You know what I mean? So it's Melanie is in the chat. Welcome, Melanie.
Hello. So, Joseph, it's an analytics. There's analytics behind that question. Like, so eBay has filters. You can filter out if you only want to see stuff. Like, there are shoppers that you better they filter only free shipping. Well, if they're not going to see my product, and then they filter only sellers that offer free returns. So there's you're losing out on some customers. There's a percentage of customers that will never even see your listing. So, but we're on the other side. There's nobody really filtering, saying only show me people that make me pay for returns. Only show me people that are charging for shipping. They're not filtering that way. So there is a percentage of people that don't even see your product. It's not a huge percentage. So yes, the answer is yes, but it's because of filters that you won't sell to those people. And that was kind of what made me do free shipping at first. I went to the eBay Open, learned a lot, and eBay had those analytics. They had the numbers. If you don't do free shipping, this many people never even see your listing because the first thing they click is only show me free shipping. But that hasn't affected me at all. Like, there's such a small percentage of people that are doing that. So, in the grand scheme of things, so that's how it could affect your business, but it doesn't hurt that bad.
Yeah, I definitely, the only thing I saw the effect of having the free shipping was my profits were, they free fell, because now, you sell a $15, $20 item and there's $6 shipping right out, that $20 sale, now you're down to $14, then the fees come out of that. Yeah. So I was going to say, I went away from that last year, and I didn't see a dip in anything. I was scared to see what was going to happen when I went away from free shipping, and it literally never skipped a beat as far as I'm concerned.
What you
Yeah,
got?
Melanie was pointing out that she doesn't do free returns. So the bad news for her is she gets a ton of item not as described because of that. So again,
what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was also going to point out too, when it comes to free shipping, another thing to take into account, which a lot of people I think overlook, is when you do your if you do promoted listings, and some people do 1%, some people do trending, some people do just above trending. But when you have free shipping and you're incorporating your shipping costs into that, you're paying the promoted listing fee on that incorporated shipping cost. Versus if you're charging for shipping, you're only being charged for the sell price, your promoted listing percentage.
Okay.
A lot of people don't realize that or even think about that. But if you're selling items that are, $15, $20 that, and you're going with trending, say a 10% is trending on that, that's not too bad, 50 cents. But if you're selling items, say that are $60, $70, $100 and you're paying 10% of that, there's a dip there too that you're not accounting for in your money.
Real quick opinion I have on the free shipping, and that's why I changed from free shipping. This is again my opinion. Having accepting best offers and free shipping to me is a recipe for disaster a recipe for bad offers. Like that's why I want to keep best offers open. But having free shipping, so many of these buyers were not taking into account the fact that I have to pay for the shipping. When they offer me $15 for something that's going to cost me $12 to ship, they're like, so I called it I'm going to do the work for my customers, and I'm not going to offer free shipping anymore, so they can see how much it's going to cost me to ship this, or now they're going to pay for it. Because I got so many offers where I literally had to tell the customer, like, look, I'd love to take it, but it's going to cost me $12 to ship this to Florida, and you just made me a $15 offer. After eBay takes their fees, I'm left with nothing. Like, I can't do it. I just can't. And so that's why I switched. Now, if I was to take best offers off and not take offers, I would go back to free shipping. But I like to be able to take offers rather than offer free shipping.
Hey, Matt, we'll see you, brother. Thanks for dropping in and watching, chatting. Appreciate you stopping by.
So I think he's talking about the promoted. So, yes, so if eBay takes their fees out of everything combined,
right,
they're flat fees. So it's like $9. And it all depends on categories as well, Brandon. So different categories have different fees when you get into the higher store levels. But yeah, so they had to do that because people were saying, well, it's $1 plus $30 shipping.
right.
eBay wouldn't get the fees off the shipping. So now, of course, they had to add eBay takes the fees off of the price of the sale and the shipping. But what Tommy's saying, and I didn't even know that, what Tommy's saying is if you promote it at like 4%, they only take that 4% from the sale itself, not the shipping.
Correct.
That's promoted listing. I didn't know that. That's good information. I did not.
So let me ask you guys a question. Like Tommy, like you said, some people do trending, some do 1% above trending, some do 3%, 2%. Have you guys, either one of you guys, noticed? I'll tell you, when I first started doing promoting listing, I was doing everything at 10%. I currently do everything at 1.5%. And once again, I have not seen my sales go from here to here because I went from 10 to 1 or 1.5.
I have played with it myself for
I did too.
The last year, and I have tried everything from the 1% to the trending to the 1% above trending to a flat 5 across the board. I feel my sales are best when I do 1% promoted and a 20% sale,
yep,
priced accordingly for the 20%. Yep. And that's where it seems to be my sweet spot. I have noticed no no big difference between running a 1% promoted listing and a trending promoted listing. So I feel I'm just paying a whole lot more on promoted listings and not really seeing any more in sales. So I usually stick with the 1%.
Yeah,
If I feel I need to throw a big boost on my store, I'll do a trending for like a day just to spice it up and then drop it back down to 1%.
I couldn't agree with you any more than that. That's exactly, like I said, I did the same thing from 10 to every spot in between, and I settled in at 1.5% as my number. And I agree. I'd rather do a 15% off sale
Right.
or 20% off sale, depending.
I heard a great analogy, a great like brick and mortar analogy for this. Promoting and having a sale is great because if you just promote, it's like just roll. You know, when you first walk into a store, there's that first, usually the for sale stuff is right there and they got it right in front of you in your face. Well, it's like putting the for sale sign behind it. If you don't, not having a sale, but putting it out there and marking it up. But to have that item out there with the big for sale sign and the percentage off, you're more likely to move that stuff, and that's how these brick and mortars do it. They put, it's right there for everybody to see. That's promoted, and then they're running the sale on top of it. That's basically, so when you promote and run a sale, you're doing that. You're putting out there for everybody to see by promoting it, and then you're running a sale on top of it.
Yep. And I run my sales on a continuous 48-hour basis. I refresh my sale every 48 hours because you get that initial boost when you start it, and then you get that 12-hour clock when it's ending. So
someone thought of that in this group. Me? No, I do the same thing. I kind of I put that into Frank's ear one time. I was like, dude, run sales for 2 days, end them, and then restart it right back up for 2 days.
Yep, that's exactly what I do.
Yep, that's what I do too.
Unless I'm feeling lazy on a weekend, then I'll run it on a 3-day from Friday to Sunday night.
Yeah, yep. I think we do a lot of the similar stuff. Great minds think alike.
Absolutely.
And then I think because of stuff like YouTube or other people have brought that up that we've seen in these, all these, content videos and whatnot. So that's what makes these things so valuable is somebody out there probably doesn't think to do that. So now we planted that seed in their mind to do that. So that's what makes these things valuable right here.
Yeah, a little secret, everyone. And it's, early on, I was like, guys, don't be telling people to promote. Like, don't tell them, I want to be the But if you're not promoting, you're not doing it right. And there's analytics behind that. I would say I want to screen share you guys. Like, the numbers are undeniable. That's all I will say. If you go into your marketing, or if I think it's under marketing, and you look at promoted listings and you look at the numbers, it's undeniable, those numbers. You cannot deny them. You will sell more if you promote.
Yep.
I could go right here to my eBay. I'll go right now and I'm not going to screen share, but I'll just tell you the numbers right now. Promoted listings. In the last 30 days, I have 2.5 million impressions. That means my promoted listings have been at least on someone's computer screen 2.5 million times. You cannot deny that. That regular listings don't even compare to that number.
Right.
It's not even comparable. So if you're not promoting, I'm just going to say I recommend doing it. There you go. So right there, Frank's got that's the numbers. If I ask Frank, hey Frank, would you pay $84 to get $2,400 in sales? He's gonna say, yes, I would.
Yep, all day long.
In a heartbeat.
So an impression is when your listing is on someone's screen. They didn't click on it or whatever, but it's still, so then he has 6,300 clicks because of his promotions. Like, you cannot deny those numbers. It's right there.
Yeah, you see this number dip, it's because it's
today
12 o'clock Denver time. So this number will go up throughout the rest of the day today. But yeah, yesterday alone, my listings had 279 people click on those listings yesterday alone. Again, you look at the solds, it's a roller coaster ride depending on the weekend, day of the week, or whatever. But yeah, I got 7 sales yesterday, or 7 of my sales were promoted listings. And again, like you said, Jimmy, this number right here to get this number here is a no-brainer. I mean, and then like I said, look at the impressions, almost 3 million impressions
in 31 days. That's why I said, like, the numbers are not, you can't, I'm not a huge analytics guy or numbers guy, but when I first started promoting and I started watching those numbers, and maybe people don't know about this dashboard, it's under marketing tab, just go to promoted listings and you can see these numbers there, guys.
There's the last 7 days. I spent $18 to get $600 in sales.
Yep. Go ahead, Tommy. Tommy wanted to say something about that because I know he agrees.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
hey, Frank, will you take that text down so we can see Tommy right now? Oh, he's got the big fucking goodies head on his face. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. No, I agree with the promoted listings, and I've also checked with not running promoteds at all versus just my 1%, and I did notice that's where I noticed the difference between doing 0 promoted listings and 1%. There was a huge difference, but between 1% and trending, I didn't notice anything.
Right, I agree. Yep.
And don't get me wrong, eBay is extremely smart in the way they recommend you do everything at trending rate. They want to throw out that fancy name to say, oh man, because everybody knows what trending means, from Twitter and everything. Oh, this is the #1 trending, blah, blah, blah. So they're going to try to, honestly, they want you to click on that trending rate because each category has a different rate, anywhere from 3% to 9 or 10%.
But that affects more of the people that, us people that are selling one-offs. It's not going to hurt us that bad if, when there's only, 60, 70 of that item for sale on eBay. Trending rate is for the people that are selling, new stuff that, there's hundreds of people selling and there's, hundreds of listings of that, 700 items. They have to worry about that. They have to try to out promote each other because they're selling stuff that's mass produced and there's a ton of it on eBay. But when you when you look up this Bionicle that I'm selling and there's only 12 of them for sale, I don't have to promote at trending. Right,
because you're going to show up on the first page anyways. Because
that's the exact point I was making is you don't need to match that trending rate. 1-2%. Some people flipping goodies said 3% their number.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be that 8 or 9%. You're not going to see your sales skyrocket because you're promoting at 3 times the rate I am on the same item. I haven't seen 1-2%, 3% is all you need to do, folks. Don't do any more than that. You're just giving more money into eBay's pocket and less into yours. So,
hey, real quick because we're getting close to it, and I'm gonna have to get going out by 1 because I got a premiere coming up at 1, y'all. If you don't mind me, I'm gonna put it in the chat. I got a premiere coming up at 1 o'clock. I'm trying to find it real quick. Sorry, little self-promotion, guys. I'll be in the chat right there.
So, and speaking of self-promotion,
a little bit.
Speaking of self-promotion, tomorrow on Uncle B's show at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time.
It's our show. It's our show. It's the
on your channel.
Treasure Hunter show.
On your channel, as I was saying, we will have Nate and Anthony from Ecom and Beyond will be in the chat just like Tommy is today. So we are looking forward to that tomorrow. So that'll be another fun show.
Yes.
Open mic on Friday. Anybody who wants to be just, a superstar and numero uno like Tommy is today, you're welcome to join in with us on Friday. We get up to 4 people can be added into the group video chat like this. So
yeah, and you guys, you can use your cell phones. If you don't have a webcam, you can use a cell phone to join us. Just It'll be a link. You'll just use the camera on your phone. As long as you got a good Wi-Fi connection, it'll work fine. So if you're worried about that, don't worry about it. We'll get you on here with a cell phone, no problem.
Yeah, because I would say the first until we started doing the every other day and me on my channel doing the show. Prior to that, the 3 or 4 shows that Jimmy and I did were I was streaming them on my cell phone, or I was doing the video on my cell phone. So there's no worry. You don't need to have, a great camera, because your phone has literally about as good of a camera as you're going to find anyway. So.
And you guys, Tommy, sorry we haven't been on top of that stuff the best. Make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel. A lot of good live shows, a lot of good information on there. He's always hanging out with a lot of people and talking everything reselling and stuff like that. A lot of good information there.
And I like to help out the what I call the newbie reseller.
Right.
Try to inspire them, and I know they have a lot of questions, and a lot of people that have came to me said, well, I don't want to ask in chats because I don't want to look dumb. For one, there's no dumb questions.
Right.
But I want people to feel free to reach out to me, man, and if they ever have any questions. I know shipping was very confusing for me in the beginning, or just apps that you use or ways to I just want to open myself up. If anybody ever needs any assistance, feel free to reach out. I can be found on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah, Instagram.
Yeah, definitely. Like I always say, I wish I would have had the sense when I first started reselling. I never thought to go to YouTube for, like I always say, I thought YouTube was for watching squirrels water skiing. I didn't know there was actual real legitimate information you could pull, find off of YouTube. So yeah, like you said, there's no such thing as a stupid question. I mean, we've all been there. We've all had those questions where it may have been answered 1,000,000 times, and you know what? I'll be happy to answer it 1,000,001 times. So,
yep, absolutely.
Appetizer, we'll see you.
So you guys can find Tommy at the Bargain Effect on Instagram as well. So check out his Instagram. Follow him on there. He does a lot on there as well. He's definitely got a lot of followers. He does a lot of information on there as well. So, I'm looking at it right now. I see so you got some shoes. It looks like you sell a wide range of stuff, hats.
Yeah, I am not niched or niched or however you want to say it, down in any specific category. I have categories I love to sell in. But
thank you, Dan, for dropping that link to that. Thank you so much.
I sell just about everything.
Cool, man. Yeah, I was watching some of your videos last night. Mainly, like I said, I've seen you mainly on other, some of other people's channels, doing stuff like this. So I've seen a lot of that. But yeah, a lot of good information.
So a couple points of shameless plugs for us before we end the show. Don't forget to like Uncle B's if you haven't liked his YouTube channel as well as mine. Hit that like button. And after the video ends, go back in and throw a comment in there, because these always help with our algorithm with YouTube. So keeps us fresh and vibrant and all that good fun stuff. So we're going to shut it down because Uncle B's got a
10 minutes, 12 minutes, guys. I'll have a premiere up in 12 minutes.
I have a feeling we'll see a lot of the same people over there in the live chat, because Jimmy will be in on the live chat on that premiere. So with that, Jimmy, you want to close it out? Anything to say other than for me real quick? Tommy, thank you for being on the show with us. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day.
Oh,
thank
absolutely.
you for allowing us to steal you for an hour and 50 minutes, or fiance or whatever she is. I don't want to overstep there, but thank you. Jimmy, take it away. Let's close it out, buddy.
Well, go ahead, Tommy.
Oh, I just wanted to say thanks for having me on the show. And I love what you guys are doing. I love the energy you guys carry. I mean, your show is very up tempo, and
cool,
you don't have any dead spots or lulls or anything. I just like the energy you guys got. And
yeah, once you get us talking, you can't shut us up.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So I just keep it up, man. You guys are doing great.
I appreciate it, Tommy. Thank you so much for coming on. Tommy 2.0, arguably one of the best nicknames in the game. Top 5-ish for sure. I know I gotta do some more research on that, but every time I hear it, I'm like, that's Tommy 2.0. Love it. Yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with us. A lot of good knowledge, a lot of good information. I'm gonna keep in touch with you about some of that T-shirt and hat stuff because I'm gonna be looking into that as I get closer to some giveaways. That's the kind of stuff I'm gonna be looking at. So yeah, and I'll send some people your way that that might be interested as well. And I know Frank's got some barbecue friends. So yeah, appreciate everything you're doing, Tommy. Good information, man. Thanks for coming on with us.
Thank you.
Keep an eye out. There may be some Mile High Treasure Hunters merch in the future, folks.
Keep an eye out. I don't know what that meant, but
Magic trick.
All right, guys. Everyone in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We love your questions and your topics, guys. Thank you so much.
And a Mile High salute to you all. Thank you. Have a great day, guys.